The snow started as a polite dusting on the windshield of Elias Grant's old Ford, but by the time he crested the ridge above Willow Creek, it had turned into a full-throated blizzard. He kept the wipers on high, the radio off. 3 years since Margaret's funeral, and the silence still felt like company. He was hauling a cord of split oak to the Widow Hargrove when the headlights caught a flash of white that wasn't snow. A woman, barefoot, in a wedding dress the color of bone, stumbling along the shoulder. The hem was shredded to ribbons and the veil clung to her hair like a torn sail. Elias eased the truck to a stop. She didn't look up until the door creaked open and the dome light spilled across her face, pale, freckled, as the green of creek water in spring. A bruise bloomed along one cheekbone. "Get in before you freeze," he said. She hesitated, then climbed in, bringing a swirl of snow and the faint scent of lilies. The dress pulled around her like a collapsed parachute. "Name?" he asked. "Clara." Her voice was hoarse, as if she'd been screaming into the wind. "Elias." He cranked the heat. "You're a long way from any church." "Long way from the groom, though." She rubbed her arms. He changed his mind at the altar. "Said I was too much trouble. Then his best man tried to drag me out the side door for a talk. He ran." Elias glanced at the rear view. No headlights behind them. "Taunton's 20 miles back. Do you want the sheriff?" "I want to disappear." She laughed, a brittle sound. "Guess I'm halfway there." He studied her. The dress had once been expensive, the lace was hand-tatted, the satin heavy. Not the kind of thing you bought off the rack in Willow Creek. "You'll disappear fine in my guest room. Got the fire going." "Soap, though." Clara's shoulders sagged. "You always pick up runaway brides." "First one." "Usually it's just deer." The cabin sat at the end of a rutted track, logs dark with creosote, chimney already coughing smoke into the night. Elias had built it with Margaret the year they married. He still set 2 mugs on the counter every morning out of habit. He handed Clara a pair of Margaret's old wool socks and a flannel shirt that hung to her knees. She peeled off the ruined dress without ceremony, stepped into the shirt, and rolled the sleeves 4 times. The bruise looked worse in the lamplight. "Sit," he said, ladling venison stew into a bowl. "Eat slow. Soak's a sneaky bastard." She obeyed, blowing across the spoon. Steam curled between them. Between bites she told him pieces, daughter of a Seattle real estate baron, engaged to a junior partner who liked control more than affection. The wedding had been planned for 400 guests at a vineyard. She'd bolted when the best man's script turned cruel. Elias listened, stirring the fire. When she finished, the only sound was the wind rattling the shutters. "You can stay the night," he said. "Tomorrow I'll drive you wherever you need." Clara set the bowl aside. "And if I don't know where that is?" He almost smiled. "Then you'll figure it out after coffee." She slept in the guest room under a quilt Margaret had pieced from feed-sack cotton. Elias lay awake in the dark, listening to the house settle and to the soft, occasional hitch of her breathing through the wall. At 3 de la mañana he got up, added a log to the stove, and found her standing in the hallway, barefoot again, staring at the row of photographs above the mantel. Margaret at 25, laughing on a trout stream. Margaret holding a newborn fawn the bottle raised. Margaret the winter before the cancer, cheeks flushed from chopping wood. She was beautiful, Clara whispered. She was stubborn as pine knots, Elias said. Thought love was something you built, board by board, fight by fight. Clara touched the glass over Margaret's smile. I thought it was something you signed for, like a mortgage. Morning came wet and sharp. Elias shoveled the steps while Clara drank coffee black and watched snow slide off the tin roof in sheets. When he came in, cheeks wind-burned, she was folding the quilt with military corners. I should go, she said. Roats closed till the plow comes. Can't be noon. Can't be tomorrow. She nodded, then surprised him by reaching for the axe propped by the door. Teach me to split wood. If I'm stuck, I'm earning my keep. He almost argued, her hands were city soft, but something in her eyes stopped him. They worked side by side in the shed, the rhythmic thunk of steel on oak filling the silence. She learned fast, swinging from the hips, grunting when the maul stuck. Sawdust clung to her hair like gold leaf. By afternoon the sky cracked open to a weak sun. The plow rumbled past, scattering gravel. Clara stood on the porch in borrowed boots, breath fogging. "I can call my father," she said. "Ella sale car." Elias leaned on the broom handle. "Or you could stay another day. A storm's supposed to circle back." She studied the mountains, then him. What would Margaret say? She'd say, "Girls got good shoulders. Don't waste 'em on tears." Clara laughed, a real one this time, and the sound startled a jay from the pines. That night she cooked pasta from the pantry, canned tomatoes, a pinch of oregano she found in a tin labeled 2019. Elias set the table with the good plates he hadn't touched since the wake. They ate by candlelight because the generator coughed and died. After dinner she asked about the phone in the photo. It told her how Margaret had sung it to sleep with an off-key lullaby. Clara listened, chin in hand, and when he finished she reached across the table and closed her fingers over his. "I'm not her," she said quietly. "No," he said. "You're not. But I could be me. Here. If you have it." Outside, the wind picked up again, rattling the windows like it wanted in. Elias turned his hand palm up, calluses against her softer skin. "Love is not a mortgage," he said. "It's a lease with an option to stay." She smiled, small and crooked. "Ella take the option." Spring came late that year. The snow melted into the creek, carrying pine needles and last year's grief downstream. Clara's wedding dress hung in the shed, repurposed into curtains that caught the morning light. She learned to bake bread that rose higher than Elias' hopes. It taught her to read the sky for weather, and she taught him how to text, slowly, with many typos. One June evening, the widow Hargrove stopped by with a rhubarb pie and found them on the porch swing, Clara's bare feet in Elias' lap, his thumb tracing the faint white scar where the best man's ring had cut her. "Thought you were just giving the girl a lift," Hargrove said, eyes twinkling. "Turns out she gave me one," Elias replied. Clara leaned her head on his shoulder. The mountains stood quiet, keeping their own counsel. Somewhere below, the creek sang over stones, carrying the last of the snow toward whatever came next.